The Arcturians have detected a shift in you. And that detection is not an observation like a footnote. It is an invitation, a recognition that something long sleeping has begun to stir and wants to be remembered. Hear this first. When cosmic guardians notice a change in your field, it is a marker that the inner architecture is responding, that a fragment once separated is beginning to hum back into harmony. This is what it means. A reunion of a lost code with its counterpart, an activation that asks you to steady your heart and answer with presence. If this message lands in your chest like a small thunder and you feel called to stay with it, consider subscribing to stand with other starseeds who are walking this path. If it resonates, you belong here. You may already be sensing this shift in small, unmistakable ways. Listen to your body and your nights. There are signs that many are reporting now, not to frighten you, but to help you name what you are experiencing. You might feel a low vibration in your sternum, as if a bell has been struck somewhere just beneath the collarbone. You may notice a persistent ringing in the ears, a high, clear tone that comes and goes like a distant chime. Dreams may arrive thick with water and crystal imagery, with corridors of light and voices that speak in images rather than words. Heat may rise through the crown, brief waves of warmth without fever, or a gentle pressure behind the eyes as if something within is rearranging its light. Emotions can crest and fall without clear cause, sudden welling, sudden release. And along with those, a steadying sense that something ancient is remembering its own melody. These sensations are not random. In the language of myth and channeled memory, they are the felt echoes of a code beginning to realign. Think of it as a resonance, an inner tuning fork finding its counterpart. It is both graceful and disruptive, often tender, but sometimes unsettling because it asks you to make room for what you once carried without knowing you carried it. The Arcturians perceive this as a shift in your energetic architecture, a signal that a portion of an Atlantean fragment held across the stars is beginning to meet the part that lives in your field. This meeting is what begins the sequence of reunion. To understand the meaning more deeply, let us trace a mythic origin, offered here as metaphor, as channeled imagery, and as an experiential map rather than literal history. In an epoch remembered as Atlantis, there were custodians who worked with crystalline patterns of remembering. Those codes were dense and luminous. When the culture fractured and a seal was placed to preserve what could not yet be held on Earth, the code itself was split. One half became encrypted within certain lineages, within living vessels carrying a subtle matrix of recognition. The other half was entrusted to a cosmic repository, an archive held in safekeeping beyond Earth's sky, maintained by guardians sometimes called the Arcturians. Over cycles, the two halves drifted apart. One nested into human form, sleeping in long memory. The other kept alight in the vault beyond, a warm ember waiting for reunion. When the Arcturians register a shift in you, they sense the edges of that sealed relationship beginning to soften. It is as if a lock that had been rusted shut is turning, not by force, but by the simple harmonic that occurs when two tuned crystals are brought close. This is not presented here as an empirical account. It is a symbolic way of understanding why your inner life may suddenly hum, why ancient imagery visits your dreams, why a sense of lineage or mission surfaces with urgency. The detection itself means you are entering a threshold where remembrance is possible again. Now we move through meaning in stages, 10 chapters of initiation that map what many starseeds are experiencing as the reunion unfolds. Each chapter will be offered with a brief sensory explanation and a small activation you may perform if it resonates. These activations are invitations. Place a hand, whisper a phrase, or simply breathe an intention silently. Use what feels safe. None of this replaces professional support for heavy emotional work. If intense material arises, seek appropriate care. Chapter 1. The illusion of failure shatters. For a long time, you may have been carrying an inner storyline. That you failed, that you missed your mark, that the flame you sought to carry dimmed and could not be rekindled. This chapter announces that the story of failure is a mirror created to teach. Trials were not designed to strip you of worth, but to clarify what part of you is ready to hold higher frequencies. The Arcturians, feeling this in you, means the old scripts are loosening their hold. Activation. Place your right hand over your heart, breathe in slowly, and gently whisper, "The illusion falls, I remember strength." Or, if you prefer, breathe this phrase inward silently for 3 slow breaths and feel the chest soften. Chapter 2. The broken seal dissolves. What was sealed to protect a code is now yielding, not because of frantic force, but because matching resonance calls for reunification. The broken seal is less a violent rupture and more a careful unlocking. You may notice memories that once felt inaccessible becoming available as images, tastes, or sudden knowings. This chapter is about permission for the inner architecture to accept reunion. Activation. Both hands over the heart, fingertips touching sternum, whisper softly. The seal opens, I receive the code. If silent practice suits you better, envision a delicate light easing open at the center of your chest and breathe into that space. Chapter 3. The Atlantean Code awakens. When the fragment stored in your lineage begins to stir, it works through symbolism, crystalline geometry, water memories, and an affinity for harmonic sound. You may suddenly favor certain tones, certain patterns, or find yourself drawn to places of clear water or stone. The awakening is a gentle alignment of memory with present capacity. Activation. Cradle your hands as if holding a small flame near your solar plexus and whisper, I carry the Atlantean pulse. Alternatively, place a quiet attention on the rhythm of your breath and imagine a crystalline lattice pulsing softly within. Chapter 4. The Arcturians return the flame. Picture a field of tender light moving across a vault and bearing toward you, a flame entrusted to guardians who know how to ferry memory across dimensions. When they detect a shift, they do not hand you a finished map. They return the ember and stand nearby as you learn to hold its heat. This chapter emphasizes support. You are not alone in learning to carry. Activation. Lift your face toward the sky, open your palms upward, and whisper, Arcturians, return the flame of remembering. As an option, breathe in, imagining a small warming light entering through the crown and settling in the heart. Chapter 5. Trials were mirrors proving readiness. The setbacks and isolations you endured were testing grounds, not punishments, but reflective checks to see how you respond under pressure. Now that the Arcturians sense your field shifting, those reflections begin to show a different image, one of resilience and steadiness rather than collapse. The lesson here is to reframe hardship as initiation rather than failure. Activation. Place left hand over the right on your chest. Breathe out with intention and whisper, I see the mirror, I choose steadiness. Or, silently, imagine your lifetime of trials arranged like training stones you can step upon and feel the steadiness underfoot. Chapter 6. The fire transmission refines, not destroys. Fire in these teachings is a refining element. It does not annihilate, it clarifies, burns away what cannot hold the new frequency, and reveals what will. You may experience inner purges, old patterns surfacing, emotional releases, even a sense of being scaled down before scale up. This refining is an invitation to tender self-care and to patience. Activation. Cup your hands as if holding a small warm ember at the center of your chest and whisper, this fire refines, I am refined. If the image feels too intense, simply breathe and imagine a gentle warmth moving through tense places, softening them. Chapter 7. The Inner Temple opens. There is a space within you, quiet, crystalline, and intentional, that acts as a temple. In ancient metaphor, it holds records and keys. As the shift proceeds, this inner temple becomes more accessible. Your attention can enter it with ease. Your intuition can read its inscriptions. The temple is not a building, but an orientation of your presence. Activation. Place a palm on your sternum. Touch forehead lightly with fingertips and whisper, "The temple within is open to me." Alternatively, close your eyes and breathe into the center of your chest, imagining a doorway opening inward. Chapter 8. The forgotten flame reemerges as lineage. What returns is not merely a personal upgrade. It is lineage light. You remember you are part of a chain that extends both backward to those who carried before and forward to those who will carry after. This is the reweaving of identity beyond the small self into a shared ancestral flame. Activation. Clasp your hands as if shaping a flame. Draw your hands close to the heart and whisper, "I rekindle our lineage flame." Or, sit quietly and hold the intention that you are both descendant and ancestor in the same breath. Chapter 9. This is the first gate. More unfolds ahead. Detection of a shift marks a threshold, not a destination. Consider this gate one of many. Its significance is that it confirms readiness for deeper work. The Arcturians' detection signals that you have stepped into the first corridor. Other chambers and opportunities for initiation will appear in time. Pace matters here. The terrain will reveal itself as you anchor. Activation. Place both hands over the upper chest as if embracing the heart. Breathe in with purpose and whisper, "I step through the first gate with calm." If you prefer silence, breathe and hold the intention that you meet each unfolding one breath at a time. Chapter 10. Anchoring is required. The flame must be shared. The reunion is not meant to end inside you. The flame, once reclaiming its form, seeks expression and anchoring into the collective field. The Arcturians detect a shift and expect that those who receive will ground it through simple practice, presence, and ethical bearing. Anchoring does not mean spectacle. It means steady frequency held in everyday life. Activation. Rest your palms against your thighs or knees. Breathe slowly 3 times and whisper, "I anchor this flame into the field with peace." For a quiet alternative, hold the intention inwardly, "I anchor this light with gentle purpose." As these chapters unfold inside your experience, some practical steps will help stabilize and integrate what is happening. These are small daily practices designed to be simple enough to maintain, potent enough to create a field. Begin with a morning breathwork ritual. 3 rounds of 5-count inhalation, 5-count retention, 5-count exhale, while imagining a golden thread running from crown to earth through your spine. Each breath is an alignment. Crown receives light, heart centers it, roots carry it to the ground. You do not need elaborate tools. A few minutes of regulated, mindful breathing does the work of steadying. Adopt a single anchor phrase, a short sentence you can repeat quietly throughout the day to recollect the flame. For example, "I carry the remembered light." Use it when anxiety rises, when tasks feel heavy, or before decisions that weigh on you. The phrase is less about magic words and more about turning your attention homeward, back into a center that holds intention. Keep a journal prompt for integration. At day's end, write 3 brief notes. 1 sensory memory from your day, a color, a sound, a dream snippet. 1 place where you felt aligned, and 1 small act of kindness you performed or witnessed. These notes track the subtle shifts and remind you that the activation has a living expression. For collective anchoring, use intention without pressure. If you feel called, write a short anchor sentence in a communal space, in comments, in groups you trust, or within a small circle of starseed friends. A shared phrase repeated with honest attention creates a coherent field. If you prefer privacy, choose a trusted confidant, or keep the practice to your private journal. Anchoring is effective in both public and intimate forms. Boundaries matter. Expect inner rearrangements, but do not demand outer spectacle. The mission implied by this detection is to hold frequency, to model steadiness, to be ethically accountable when asked to lead. It is not about performing miracles for others or about claiming sudden material advantages. Keep your expectations realistic. Sometimes the deepest changes are invisible to others while being profound inside you. As the Arcturians detect your shift, they also mark your readiness for mission. Not necessarily loud headline work, but a sustained presence of holding. The next gate will likely ask for small, repeated acts, a daily practice, a willingness to listen more than speak, an ethical commitment to community. Your assignment is to be a reliable container for the flame, to offer it through service, creativity, or quiet witness. You will know how to serve because your embodied signals will guide you. Longing for creative expression, an urge to tend sacred spaces, or a tenderness for certain people or places. Do not rush. The flame asks for steadiness. Gather companions who respect boundaries. Share the work with others who honor the lineage without seeking to own it. The Arcturian's role is custodial. Yours is custodial and social. You hold the frequency and offer it back to the field through your daily life. Now, as the narrative reaches its crest, we move toward the final activation, an anchoring that gathers the chapters into a single, embodied affirmation. If you choose to participate, prepare by finding a comfortable posture that keeps your spine open. This activation invites fuller presence and a deliberate claiming of the flame. Final activation. Bring both hands to the heart. Cradle as if cupping a sacred ember. Breathe in twice, slow and deep. When you are ready, whisper the phrase, "I receive the Atlantean flame. I anchor it with love." Let each word be deliberate. If you prefer silence, take 3 breaths while holding the intention with clarity. I receive the flame, I anchor it with love. After the activation, sit quietly for a moment and notice any softening, any settling, any new alignment in the field of your body and attention. If this activation resonated with you, and if you feel called to anchor in community, I invite you now, as the Arcturians' detection asks for collective tending, to write a simple anchoring sentence in the comments. One short line that declares your commitment to hold the flame. It could be a phrase like, "I remember and I anchor," or "I hold this light for the earth." Keep it concise and honest. Sharing it becomes a small network of frequency. It is an offering, not a performance. If you prefer not to share publicly, consider sending that line into your journal or to a friend who is walking this path. Remember always, the language used to describe these events, Atlantean codes, vaults, Arcturians, is symbolic and channeled. It is a map to inner terrain, not a literal scientific report. Let it guide you, not bind you. Treat the activations as options, not prescriptions. If strong emotion surfaces, be gentle with yourself and seek the appropriate support. You were detected because you were ready, and that readiness is a gift and a responsibility. Walk gently as you learn to carry the flame. Be kind to the parts of you that are unsettled. Protect your energy when you must, and reach for community when you can. The path forward will unfold with both quiet days and sharp, luminous moments. Anchor each with steady breath, patient practice, and the soft courage to show up again and again. You are remembrance. You are lineage. You are a steward of a returning light. Carry this with calm and with the small joy of someone who has found a lost key on a familiar road. If you feel moved, leave your anchoring sentence below, one brief line to claim your place in this field. Share it with one person who is also remembering, and in doing so, help to weave the collective grid a little more firmly. Walk gently.